Hey guys, how are ya? So we're doing one of our regular recipes. Haven't done it in a little while, but this is our favorite Indian restaurant in England, and we've been to many. This one is about 150 miles away from where my mother lives, and we will willingly drive up there to go eat at this place. Anyway, this is their book, Prashad at Home. It's probably the one time I've bought a cookbook from a restaurant and the food comes out tasting the same as it does in the restaurant. I don't know if that's just me following the recipe even better than normal, or if it's just done really well. So today we are going to do a pea and cauliflower curry. So this is the one recipe where I actually will use oil. I don't usually, if I can avoid it, but I have to be able to pop these mustard seeds, and water won't get hot enough. It'll evaporate before it can get hot enough. I probably could do that in a pressure cooker, but I am nowhere near that interested, so I'll just use like a tablespoon of oil. Recipe calls for just the proportions I'm going to give you, because this is all in teaspoons, but I actually use tablespoon because we make a larger volume. So it's 1 teaspoon or tablespoon of cumin seeds. I'm out of seeds, so I'm using ground cumin. 1 teaspoon, or tablespoon in my case, of brown mustard seeds. We're going to use half a teaspoon, which will actually be a teaspoon, of asafoetida. This is hing, ground hing, and this is what makes, if you've ever had dal soup, that beautiful saffron yellow lentil soup in an Indian restaurant. Oh, this is one of the most essential ingredients in that, and in a lot of other Indian cooking. The kind of nickname, street name for it is devil's dung, because it smells really bad. Once it's cooked, it really does give another dimension of taste. But yeah. So devil's dung, or hing, or asafoetida is the proper name for it. That I think I just got off of Amazon. And then we're going to have 1 tablespoon of turmeric. It's underneath all this. 3 tablespoons of ground coriander. Calls for 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I have a pinch of salt in here. And it calls for 1 teaspoon of sugar, which I do actually have in here. Then you're just going to want a bag of frozen peas, 1 tomato finely chopped, 1 medium head of cauliflower. I'm using this is just Costco's 3-color, tricolor cauliflower frozen. And instead of chopping tomatoes, I'm going to use my no salt rotel. The chilies in that will actually give it an extra little kick. And then we also make a masala, which is just basically a spice pack that you make up fresh, and all that is ginger. Sorry, my wrist doesn't bend. Ginger, and you can do jalapeno or chilies. They say 3 to 6 fresh green chili seeds left in. I use 1 serrano, and that's plenty hot enough with the rotel. I made it with 3 chilies one time, and it was so hot I couldn't eat it. But anyway, so let me show you what I'm going to do with this. So this is one of the little Ninja products, and this is, it's just a little chopper. It's really convenient for when you're doing small stuff. It's real easy to clean up. I also, a lot of times when we go to parties, I will make some different dips, like a tamarind dip, an apple pea dip. These are all Indian from this same cookbook, and these are really convenient because I can make it in one and store it in one. Nice lid that fits on there that'll seal, so you can store it in the fridge or you can just take it wherever you go. Okay, this will be a little loud. But I mean, easy to do that size with a knife, or you know, just a that's hot, or a manual chopper. But yeah, that's basically a masala. Obviously, there'd be a lot more chili in there. If you like it spicy and hot, go ahead and put 3 or 4 in. All right, so take a screenshot because it's one of the few times you'll see me use oil. This recipe, I'm going to make a copy of it for y'all. Calls for 100 mils of sunflower oil, and that's, let me think, tablespoon is 15, so yeah, it's like 5 or 6 tablespoons, and there's no way we're going to do that. We're going to make this way healthier. And you'll soon see that you know, once this is up to heat, a tablespoon works perfectly well. And then instead of using, to make up a little bit for all of the extra oil that I'm not going to use, I'm going to add probably about 75 to 100 mils of hot water. But, we'll let this get up to temperature and then we will continue. Okay, so that's been warming for a little while. One thing to be aware of, once these start popping, it's almost going to be like a mini version of popcorn. They're going to jump up, so get ready to drop your heat down pretty quickly, or put a lid on, otherwise you're going to have oil and mustard seeds spatter everywhere. So I've dropped that heat from gas mark 9 to about gas mark 4. And you'll hear these start popping pretty quickly. Yeah, see them start jumping? So. I don't know if that's actually better for you, if you can see that easier without the glare. But once they're cracking, they start to release the flavor in a much different way. I'm going to reduce that heat even more. Drop in the asafoetida. Drop in a little water. Excuse me. I'm not very organized today. Now, as bad as that ping smells when it's just in the powder form, it just has this wonderful kind of almost smoky, nutty smell to it once it's starting to cook. Add in the rest of our water, the masala, and this can actually be ground a lot finer. We kind of like it chunky, yeah, you can almost grind this down to a paste, almost like a curry paste. I think that's really what masala is supposed to be. We'll drop in the rest of our herbs and spices. And you can see the turmeric on top there, bright yellow. Now if you're using all the oil, I think you only put half of it in to begin with. You don't have to be quite as conscientious about mixing this. It'll mix easier, the curry powders and the spices and everything. And we're going to let that just very slowly steam for about 8 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to put the timer on and we'll be back. Okay. So we'll put about half a can of the Rotel in. And then a whole bag of peas. Calls for 400 grams. This is British measurements, metric. So this is 340, just 12 ounces. So you could certainly use a slightly bigger bag. So 16 grams of protein in this whole thing. No fat. So that's good. And then 16 grams of fiber as well. I like to try and get the sauce or the paste, whatever you want to call it, kind of nicely evenly distributed over the peas and everything. And then it's just going to be like another 3 or 4 minutes just to heat those peas through. And it'll be ready. We serve this just over rice and usually with chopped coriander, fresh coriander. I'm not sure if I've got any. Let me look. Yeah, I have coriander, but it's not fresh. So we will have to do without this week. Okay, all the secrets of our fridge. So as you can see, we have, these are 6-cup size containers. So that one's probably 3/4 full. This one's full of red rice. And then of course we have oat groats. I have a bit of a thing about plastic, so I like mine in glass, but yeah, that's That's our refrigerator. Multicolored carrots, some different herbs that are reasonably fresh. Ginger and garlic in the middle there. What else is in there? That jug is tart cherry juice. That's just for my gout. Little applesauce up there. Some miso. That's all the bad stuff. This is the most processed stuff, and most of this is actually ingredients for salad dressings, really. Keep our ground flax in the fridge. It's important to keep it fresh. There's quite a lot of oil in the flax, so you do want to make sure that stays refrigerated. Alright, and there you go. That is it. And it is good. Alright guys, thanks so much for joining us again. Again, this is, once you got the ingredients, it's a easy, quick recipe. You know, 15-20 minutes cook time total, really. The vast majority of the spices you can find easily at City Market. The asafoetida you will need to search for. And like I say, I got mine off of Amazon, but you can order it from the Spice House. We cook so much Indian stuff. I generally, let me show you. Like our turmeric, we buy in a 1 pound bag. I do the same with the ground coriander. Because again, we use so much of it. Anyway guys, thanks for joining us. Try this recipe at home. If you don't have all these ingredients, you can just use like a generic curry powder and try it that way. The flavors are much better if you do it in the order of the recipe. It's just the chemical interactions and reactions just make this just a wonderful, especially on a nasty day like today, just a wonderful hearty meal. So play around with it, have fun. If you don't have cauliflower, you can use, you can use broccoli or whatever you have. But yeah, it'll work pretty good with just regular curry powder. And if you want it richer and heavier, you can add almond milk to make it into a much wetter dish if you prefer. But yeah, play around, have fun. All right guys, thank you. Have a good one.